What do you do when the thing that makes you you is suddenly gone?
If you never tell anybody what it is you really want to do, then how is anyone supposed to help you?
It's often the ones that you least expect, like your biggest supporters. And then unfortunately, sometimes it's the people who you do expect to be your supporters. It brings out a deep insecurity within them if you're going after something.
I'm not allowed to look up from the ground unless I have something nice to say about whatever it is that my eyes see.
In order to succeed, you need to fail, because failure really is just data. And if you take it personally, well, then you're missing the point. It's an opportunity to learn and grow.
I'm okay with messiness because real life is messy.
Welcome to 40G. What do you do when the thing that makes you you is suddenly gone? Not gradually and not by choice, just gone. My guest today knows that feeling from the inside out. Britt Furlanis grew up with horses at the centre of everything, and at the age of 15, she moved to her father's home, gave up competing, and lost a massive part of her identity. What followed was an identity crisis that eventually surfaced as something greater. She found her way through it, and when she was 18, she walked into the corporate career in gas trading, built something real and successful, but still spent years wondering if the sport that she gave up at 15 was still waiting for her. In 2023, Britt left the corporate world, moved to a property in Woodford, Queensland, and decided to go all in on her dream of becoming a professional show jumper and winning gold. She is a competitor, a coach, a horse trainer, and an extremely self-aware person who has a lot of value to give all of you. Britt hasn't spoken about this a lot publicly, but she's chosen to come on 40G to share her story with you in order to hopefully give you some value and make sure that you don't have to go through what she did in order to get to where she is today. I think this conversation is going to resonate with a lot of you because it's about identity. It's about proving the point that it's never too late to go after something that you want. And it's also about recovery and what it actually takes to build a life with nothing left out and no stone left unturned. So, Britt, welcome to the 40G podcast.
Thank you, Kylie. I am really pleased to be here. So thank you for having me.
I'm really pleased to finally have another horse girl on the podcast. It's a piece of my identity that's not very well known now, as sort of football has taken the forefront. But, you know, once a horse girl, always a horse girl.
Absolutely. Well, maybe we can uncover some stories about you today too.
Oh God, that might have to be a part 2. But what I will say is that people who don't come from a horsing background is the level of discipline, the level of resilience, and the work ethic that is needed to be a horse girl, because you're not just like another athlete where you're only worrying about yourself and your sleep and your nutrition. You also have a massive mammal to look after and to feed and to rug, and they get injuries just like we get injuries. So you could be doing everything right, and then your horse puts, a foot through a fence, and there goes your dreams at the Olympics. So a very resilient industry, and I'm sure that's shaped you into who you are today as well.
Absolutely, Kylie. And in addition to that, there's that emotional relationship that you build with an animal. And so that, along with everything you just mentioned, it makes it such a dynamic, challenging, rewarding sport to be in.
Absolutely. A love-hate relationship, that's for sure. But something that, I think is the most wonderful thing, because also your horses are the most amazing therapists, because they literally can feel what you feel, and they just have this sixth sense about them that they know if you're upset or if you're not feeling 100%. And that translates to them too. So if there's anything that I miss is going for a ride on the horse, through the paddocks, not having a care in the world. I think that is the best form of therapy there possibly is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's such a good feeling.
Fortunately, I can't bring my horse to Melbourne. I can barely afford to live here myself, but one day I'm going to get back into it.
Good. And that's what you need, the one day, don't let it be forever one day, but, draw a line in the sand at some point and make that shift, because if it's in your heart, then you should definitely follow it.
I love it. Now, before we get into your incredible story, we're going to start with the Snap Fitness Rapid Fire question segment. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and you just have to say what comes to mind.
I love
You
this.
ready?
This is cool. Yeah.
Okay, first one. What is something that not many people know about you?
Ooh. When it comes to using spoons, I'll use a teaspoon before I have to use a big spoon.
I completely back that and am like that
Yeah.
myself. That just tastes better off a teaspoon.
Yeah, I like it. Lasts longer too. That's why I like it, I think.
Yeah, sensible. Which is the horse that taught you most about yourself?
Oh, the horse I have now, Carlos.
And what did Carlos teach you?
Oh, that it's actually okay to have a horse like him in your life that you're going to learn lots of lessons on. Like you may not get everything right, but like it's okay to have a horse. And I'm getting emotional talking about it. Like just to have a horse that serves a purpose for you like that. For me, he was like my re-entry into competing. So I made so many mistakes in training him that I am now applying to horses that I'm training now, and they're going like amazingly. But yeah, it meant that he had to kind of go through all of that with me.
Oh, I love it. We've all had a horse like that. Mine was named Prince, and he was such a little shit of a horse, but he taught me how to ride. And I tell you what, I became a pretty good rider after having to deal with him. So Carlos and Prince, you're the real MVPs.
Yeah. I actually had my first pony, Lucky. She was a grey pony. She just taught me how to hang on, and she just used to buck and rear every time I got on her. And I think that, took me far down the track because I could just stay on anything and I was fearless after that.
Yeah.
So but that was more of a technical riding rather than like about myself kind of reflection. Yeah.
Taught you how to have no fear. And finally, what is a self-limiting belief that you have had growing up that you have had to unlearn to become who you are today?
I'm not good enough. Yeah. That really ran the show of my life up until I was about 26. I didn't even know that was the self-limiting belief that was controlling my life. Yeah.
And I think that's something that so many of us can resonate with, and especially being women, where we're in a world, even today, where things are definitely getting a lot better, but we still have to almost overcompensate to be perfect to get into rooms, whereas men don't have to do that as much. And we feel as though once we're in that room, we can't make a mistake because we'll get booted out and another door won't open. So I think that is something particularly important. And that's not just in sport, obviously, that's in our careers and a lot of other areas. But I think sport is where it shows up quite a lot too.
Yeah, Kylie, I definitely noticed that in the corporate world, the way in which I'm not good enough manifested itself in my case was being a ridiculously high performer and looking amazing all the time. Because I'm not good enough. It just doesn't matter how good you look, how well you perform, how correct you are, how much money you make. It's just never going to be good enough. And like the bar just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. So I would say that now one of the ways, now how I kind of like how it looks for me now is if something's like a little out, well, firstly, I tune into like what it is that I want to wear or how I want to look or how I want to say something. And like, if it's not perfect, it's absolutely perfect for me. Like I'm okay with messiness because real life is messy.
Yeah, it's funny. I went at time of recording this yesterday to see Michelle Obama, who has always been my absolute hero. So it was pretty cool to see her. But she said something really interesting in this regard. She said, I have met some of the most powerful people and, in the highest roles. And she said, to be completely honest, the people at this table, they're not special. She's like, I always thought that they would have to be so smart to be in there. But you get there and they're pretty average people, but they've just gotten into these positions because they've almost got this sense of, this arrogance almost that they belong there, whereas a lot of us feel as though we can't be there until we're perfect. And she said something along the lines that men often fail up and they can make mistakes and still go up. But women, we're at the stage where if we fail, as I mentioned earlier, we think that we're going to be cut and that we won't have another opportunity. So it's interesting, even in her perspective, that she realizes that, yeah, it's a bit of a scam thinking that all these people in powerful positions are cut from a different cloth, because they're really not. They're just pretty average people, but they've got there through, sheer confidence and belief in themselves, which a lot of us, especially women, don't often have that belief in ourselves.
Absolutely, Kylie. And I think what you've mentioned is so important, because there's two parts to what I see as that issue is this long-standing generational gender challenge. So women, men and women making the same mistake, there would be a different expectation or a different reaction to a female making the same mistake versus a man. And then that becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So women see the reaction to how that woman was treated for making a mistake, and they go, oh, that's going to happen to me if I make a mistake. And then they almost like prove it to be true when they go and make their mistake because they've seen it happen. And so the real power lies in how you believe and perceive your own mistakes, which for me is learning opportunities. Like, I know more often than not when I get on the horse or when I go out and compete, I'm actually not going to win, but I'm going to learn what I did well, what I didn't do well, or in the corporate room, what worked, what didn't work. And we're going to learn. There's always learning opportunities. There's no failures. The only failure is like doing nothing.
Absolutely. And in order to succeed, you need to fail, because failure really is just data. And if you take it personally, well, then you're missing the point. It's an opportunity to learn and grow. And that's why athletes become excellent, is because they, like, everyone fails. Like, what's Michael Jordan's quote, that he's missed more shots than he's taken or something, but it's just, you don't take it personally.
Exactly. And it took me a while to actually get that throughout my sort of like late 20s and entrepreneurial journey to reconstruct my relationship with failure, to be really one of, actually, no, it's necessary. Like, bring on the mistakes, like bring on the F-ups, like,
Yeah.
It's going to happen. So let's go. Like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I want to go all the way back, and I want to know what your life was like and childhood was like up until the age of 15 when you stopped competing. So what role did sport play up until that 15 age mark?
So I was a really active kid outside of equestrian as well. Like, I actually played tennis with Ash Barty. We had lessons.
Oh,
at the
wow.
same,
What a flex.
I know, right? But she still wiped the floor with me, and she was probably like 2/3 my size at the time. So I knew she was really, that was her sport. I did like softball, high jump, shot put, like all those sorts of things. And in the background, my mum had horses when we were really young, so we started riding lessons, and then eventually she got us our first pony, like around about 8, 9-ish. And soon after, we got another horse because my sister rode, and then we started competing at for the Runcorn Pony Club, which is where our horses were living at the time. And very soon, I realized that jumping was my thing. It was like the biggest thrill, and I just wanted to do more and more of it. So my mum and my stepdad were like all in, bought the property, had like 4 horses, and my poor bio dad, my dad, he was like missing out because I'm just like, I just want to go like compete every weekend. So he'd, have to like come along to the events to see us, which was awesome. So yeah, I would get up early, particularly in the summer. You can get up at 4 a.m. here, ride before school, go to school. I kept things quite intentional at school. I had like 1 or 2 friends, and I was just there to like do the classwork. I did homework as much as I could in class or in the lunch breaks, so that when I could get home, I could just keep riding my horses.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would get up at like 2 a.m. in the morning to do assignments before riding and then go into school.
Gosh.
So I had this crazy amount of energy and drive. And my mum really facilitated it because she said, if you get stray days, you can have as many days off school to ride horses as you like. So
Oof, I love it.
I took her word for it. And in show jumping, often there's like competitions that might be on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So those days off were really required.
Yeah, definitely. I like that's good parenting too, like some positive blackmail.
Yes. I think it really worked in this case.
Yeah, that's it. So then tell us about, obviously you're competing up until the age of 15. Then what was it like and what changed at 15 that you had to stop competing?
Yeah, look, I think being a teenager, even when I was that teenager 17 years ago, it's challenging. Navigating relationships with parents can be really hard, especially when you've got like separated parents. And so, yeah, I didn't have a great relationship with my mum at the time. And I just saw that for me, I needed to like get away and change something because how things were going, it just wasn't, just didn't feel right for me, like for my own mental health. So I went and lived with my dad, and thankfully my stepmom and her family lived like on a property with some horses and near some horses. So I knew I wasn't going to be like completely abandoning the horses, but I went from, as I just described, like riding before school, after school, competing most weekends to living on a house block with my dad and my stepmom and kind of seeing horses maybe on the weekend and contemplating like how's my life going to look, you know. And I had like one really good friend at the time, and luckily she liked horses too, so we could kind of bond over that. I just want to say this is also a part of my story. I don't think I've, like, as you said, I've never really shared it. I've shared like other parts, but this one just feels so relevant for your listeners. And so I just felt really like lost and alone. I felt supported by my dad and my stepmom, but I didn't really know. I just knew there was just like newness in front of me, but I didn't really, I didn't know how I was going to get through it. But the first thing that I remember doing was I noticed that a lot of the thoughts or where my attention was focused was on all of these like negative things that were happening in my life or around me. So yeah, no horses, feeling sad, still away from the horses, like every 3 months it kind of got longer and longer. I described it like a PMS basically. So I would like every month get this urge and agitation to ride horses, and I'd be like I was having PMS, and then it would go 2 months and 3 months and get longer and longer. But this thing that really annoyed me was all these like negative thoughts that I was having. So what I did, I had quite a long bus ride to school every morning, and I brought a book with me, and I just listed out all of the things that I could appreciate and be grateful for. And that list might have been like 5 or 10 things to start with. And then every day I would write the same things, but it would just get like longer and longer and longer each time. And what surprised me was that like, I don't know, I didn't read that anywhere. Nobody told me to do it. I just started doing it. And I noticed that within myself, I became just a more pleasant person. My experience of myself was more pleasant.
That's incredible at that age to be that self-aware to do that. Like it's all the talk now, obviously journaling and affirmations, but just to come up with that on your like by yourself at that age, really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. And so it's been something that I my brain always goes, hey girl, like remember, like that was within you. You let that, like you trusted that instinct to do that. And it's simple things. Like I'm really grateful that I've got feet to stand on the ground with, like simple things, and really feeling it in your body. And I loved that the more I did it, the more I saw. So then the more I saw out in the world that things could be really great. So I started doing that, and then I did start riding a couple of horses at my grandparents' neighbours' property, but nowhere near as frequently as I liked, and I kind of knew it wasn't that sustainable. So I kept going to school. I made some more friends at school because I saw that like the kids that didn't really have much else going on for them outside of school had lots of friends inside school. And I was like, well, I don't have much going on outside of school.
Got a bit more availability now.
Yes. So I started getting more friends, getting interested in boys, like boyfriends, and creating this life outside of horses. I still kept my studies relatively, straight A, sort of B student. And then and the reason I did that was because I knew that despite what was going on for me at that point in my life, that once I was an adult, like I could author my own journey, and I wanted to journey back to the horses. And I had it in my head that, I needed money to do that, which is generally right. So I wanted to have a good corporate job, go to uni, get the good job, and then afford these horses myself. So I just kind of just hung out in this world of like being social, having good grades, getting to university was the goal. And so I did that. And over time, as I got more friends, and it was really like that social network that I tended to not care or be as focused about riding horses as time went on. And it just became this pastime for me, which it's really interesting. I'm like, oh, I feel really sad that I did that to myself, but it was the journey. And then it came like perhaps like another lull in my life when I was starting university, which is another kind of identity shift in a way, because I was also working for Santos, which was in the energy industry. And again, I treated it a bit like I did when I was riding and going to school. I just went to uni just to do the classes, get the coursework, and then go back to work because I was really motivated at work to make money. Like I was just so driven and wanted to do a really, really good job. And again, I found myself in this space where I was really critical of people. Like I would be walking along I don't know if it's still called the Goodwill Bridge, along to QT, and like there would be people just walking past me and my brain would spit out horrible thoughts about them, like, oh, their shape, their hair color, their clothes. And I was like, what is going on? Like, this is not, this is not who I know myself to be, or who I just knew it wasn't the true kind of way to succeed in life. Like, I'm not going to be a nice human being if I'm doing that.
Yeah. Do you think was there insecurities inside of you and you were projecting it onto others? Is that a reason, do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like, because I felt so out of my depth, making that transition from high school into university and also a new job. And it was also the time at which, that's 17 years old, 18, where I actually started binge eating and being bulimic. So it was like there was something like totally out of control going on and I couldn't regulate myself. I didn't even know what emotions were. So what I did was I told myself, because I did a lot of walking, to and from uni, etc. I was like, I'm not allowed to look up from the ground unless I have something nice to say about whatever it is that my eyes see.
Interesting.
And so I trained myself to be like positive and to be to find the good in whatever it was that I saw as I was walking along. And if I noticed I had a couple of crappy thoughts, I'd be like, right, look back at the ground, start from the feet, they've got nice shoes. Those socks are cute. Like, really simple stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, eventually I just got to, walking with my head up and being really pleased to see people around me and grateful for being alive, basically.
Yeah.
So they were a couple of key things that got me that I guess altered my view of like my situation, was really just dealing with the fact that I being so negative is just not going to help, and then opportunities flowed from there because I was seeing the world in a better light, seeing other people in a better light, being a nice person to be around. Something else I also did during that time was I read this book called The Secret and started like visualizing.
Yeah, it's a good book. Yep.
It's a great book. Even as a 15, 16-year-old, those like principles you could apply. So I remember like manifesting this grey horse that I was going to start riding, and I did that, and I was like, oh my God, it's working. So that really got me through that like rough time in my life. And then 18, 19, 20, I was into the corporate world. Like, and I rode maybe once every 6 months, and I was like super duper hungry and high performing, and I did such a great job. But I had no idea that I had that story of like, I'm not good enough. I was just like, right, let's just go. Like, let's try and get to CEO. And then once we get there, we're going to start riding horses. And my promise to myself was if I haven't got to CEO by 30, I'll start riding anyway.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? Like, it says a lot about the way that we tick. And obviously, you probably tied a lot of your identity when you were younger to being a good horse rider. And when that was taken away from you, you needed to overcompensate and find something else to fill that gap. And that's probably where some insecurity started coming up. And then it was, right, I need to become the best at work I can possibly be. And it's almost becomes a bit of a box ticking exercise, doesn't it? And you sort of forget the purpose and motivation behind why you're doing it. Like, I've found that myself. Like, I want to get to the highest level, but like, am I enjoy? Like, I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I enjoy the sport, or I enjoy the work. So why do we feel as though we have to be just going up the ladder, that success is linear, without actually thinking about the why? And that's something that definitely gets lost.
Absolutely. And like, I did everything else apart from horses that I could. I became super fit, did bodybuilding competitions, did running competitions, did like everything else to try and fill this void that was still inside of me, which was the connection back to the horses. And I just don't think I even wanted to admit it to myself. I was just really scared to admit that was a huge part of my life that I'd even abandoned for a while.
Yeah. And we do whatever we can to run away from having to deal with what's inside, right? Like, that was similar to me. Once I did my ACL, I had no other option than to sit with myself and unpack a lot. And that's why it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because it forced me to slow down and to actually deal with what's happening inside. Because you can go and you can do Ironmans, or you can work all the way up the corporate ladder, and that's just masking what's happening. It's becoming a distraction. But whatever's happening inside is always going to be there, and it's going to come to surface at some point. So that it's a good lesson that we have to actually deal with what's within to get a better external outcome on the outside.
Yes. Yep. And you're right. It is the quiet time. And I think maybe I did associated quiet time with just maybe like reading a book or listening to music or going for a walk. Those things help, but they're still almost distractions in a way. Quiet time is that courage to actually sit with yourself and question all of your thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And your past traumas and work through them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what was it for you that clicked in 2023 to make you say, right, I need to go back to horses because that's my happy place and that's where I want to dedicate a lot of my time and effort into to become a gold medalist show jumper, which I'm sure is on the cards very shortly.
Thank you. So the end of 2023 was really the execution of a transition plan. In perhaps maybe the end of 2021, my partner at the time sat me down and was like, right, what is your actual goal for life?
Oh, big questions.
Yeah, right. And thankfully, he had that level of awareness that made me feel safe to answer that question. But it still felt like, I don't know, pushing cheese through my teeth, like trying to get it out. It was like, just didn't want to come, you know. And I was like, right, I want to win a gold medal at the Olympics for show jumping, and I want to be the best there ever is. And he said, okay, great. How much is that going to cost? And I said, about $20 million. I don't know exactly, but 20 million sounds about right. That'll definitely get me on my way.
I'd hope so. God. Otherwise, an expensive sport.
Yes. And he was like, okay, great. How much are you saving each week or month? I can't remember what the number was, but the calculation of, 20 million divided by how much I was saving each week or month meant that I was going to get there in 4,900 something years.
Right. Oh dear.
And so this is a really good reality check. And he was like, you just need to buy a horse. Just get back on the horse.
Quite literally. Yep.
Yeah, literally, just buy a horse. And because I'd been working a lot and all of that, I had the resources to do it. I was just so damn uncomfortable and had to confront that I'm going back into a sport where I used to know everything. And it was actually only at the start of COVID, I was one of those people that got a COVID dog. And I freaked out. I was like, how am I going to keep this thing alive? I've just been looking after myself for 10 years. And then I was like, but hang on, at 12, you kept 4 horses alive. A dog is no problem. So, we did the dog. The dog was the training for the horse, got the horse, still freaked out about it. But thankfully, Carlos is still alive and he's thriving. So, yeah, I think Carlos came along in 22. And at that time, I was already starting to have conversations with the leaders that I was working with to say, look, I'm going to go, I want to be an entrepreneur. I need to make lots of money. And that generally comes through, I need to have flexibility of my time and make lots of money. So I need to be operating businesses that I own or am majority shareholder of to make that a possibility. So I said to them, at the time I was in sort of management position, we need to start transitioning away from this structure so I can kind of hand over. And yeah, over about a year to 18 months, we put that plan in place. And I was very grateful of the relationships that I built with my leadership at the time and pleased at the courage I took to have those conversations. Because it's one thing to say it and ask for it, but then it's another thing to follow through. And there wasn't just one conversation that happened there was many conversations. I had to keep following up on the plan that we'd agreed and if there was any alterations to it. And half the time I'd be have this frog in my throat going am I really going to take this next step? Yes, we are.
Incredible. So not only have you gone all in on, chasing your sporting dream, but that meant that you had to change your work career and then just take on building a business, which is its own sport, right? So I'm sure that would have been a very hectic and unsettling period, especially when you start a business, you're not earning heaps from the get-go. Like, you've got to build that as well. So how did you sort of manage and navigate that whole tricky situation?
Yeah, so this was, I think, the next kind of period of my life where I had a big identity shift. And I was very grateful. My partner at the time was an entrepreneur and really kind of worked with me to help me with my mindset from transitioning from an employee to a business owner. And so it was good to have someone like that to walk through the process with. And simple things like just having money not turn up in my account every fortnight freaked me out.
Oh, yeah. I'm feeling that at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, oh, what am I going to do? And then I just have to keep looking at the pile of money that I'd, saved up, even though it was going down. I was like, it's okay. It's okay. This is part of the process. You need to get comfortable with uncertainty, because being in business means cash comes in lumps sometimes. It doesn't always come in this steady stream that you've been expecting, but also been expecting that you could just show up for, rather than be linked to the energy that you brought to it and the things that you worked on in the business. So that took probably a good 6 to 8 months to feel okay with. It just felt like I was free falling from the plane for like 6 months.
Yeah. And we always say it's not necessarily the fear of failure, right? But it's the fear of judgment, because you've openly said, this is what I want to do. You've put it out there to the universe. It's scary when you do that, because you're thinking, oh God, what if I don't achieve it? And I've just told everyone, like, I'm going to look silly. But not at all. Often people are so behind you and are just like, that's fantastic. And you actually inspire a lot of other people to just be brave and say what you want to achieve.
Yes, that's actually something that I remember being surprised about when I started telling everyone and sharing my plan, etc. Everyone was so lit up about what I was doing and the courage that I had to go and do it, and that I felt really supported by that. And when I left corporate, I still kept posting socially about how we were going, and so many people that were in my network from corporate would continue to, comment, like, share, support, and that really went a long way. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who did that. Actually, it made me feel really loved, and that I had people on my team.
Yeah, and it's often the ones that you least expect, like your biggest supporters. And then unfortunately, sometimes it's the people who you do expect to be your supporters who it brings out a deep insecurity within them if you're going after something and they are too scared to do it. And often it's disappointing in a way, but you almost have to be empathetic and think, what is it about you and you going after your dream that is so threatening to them? And it's not necessarily personal to you, but it's just where they're at. And it's hard sometimes, because sometimes they're your best friends or they could be family members. But unfortunately,
Yeah, so like there was, people in two camps. There was those people that were like, oh, this is what I really want to do with my life, but weren't willing to go after it, but would support me. And then I could sense that there was people that they sort of wanted to support me, but there was that underlying like resentment that they weren't doing what was true for them. And I had empathy for them, because I was like, I've been where you are. Like, I've been in your shoes before and had someone tell me, hey, I'm leaving, I'm going after my dreams. And I had so much empathy for them. Like, I don't know. I feel like I was just that like soulful person that was just like, I get you. And it's okay. And I really just appreciate you for even saying that you want it, that you're happy for me. Like, thanks. I get it takes a lot to do that when you have that internal conflict and resentment going on.
Mm, definitely. And like that's something, especially to our audience who usually younger females who probably want to push to that next level, but they're scared to verbalize it in case they don't make it. Or more importantly, they're scared to verbalize it because they're scared what other people are going to think of them when they do. And sometimes people can try and cut you down, but it's the courage to be that confident within yourself, and you've got nothing to prove to anyone else but yourself. You hear of people always trying to prove others wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. That's a wrong intrinsic motivator. You should be doing it to prove yourself right.
Yes, yeah, you're spot on. However, like the number of people I've seen that have achieved ridiculous things with that story of like, I'll show you or I'll prove you wrong is nuts. But yes, like you want that intrinsic drive. Like I'm doing this for me because I love me and because that little girl or that little boy within me would really be pleased right now that we're doing what makes us really happy. And there's a couple of things. One, if you never tell anybody what it is you really want to do, then how is anyone supposed to help you?
How are you meant to be held accountable?
Well, yes, held accountable, but like how could anyone ever, like, you know, there are people that just want to support. There are people that want to connect you to get to that next to that person or someone who can help you out. Like if nobody knows, it's not even real. It doesn't exist. So like actually sharing and telling people about where you want to go and what you want to do is essential because people are going to then help you and the path will then unfold. I think what has stopped me in the past, and sometimes I do it now, I find myself circling on like how am I going to get there? But that doesn't actually matter. It just, what matters is that like I've taken the very next step and I've broken that down for myself. So the very next step could just be like calling your mum or your uncle or someone and saying, hey, this is really close to my heart, but I actually really want to do X. And then as soon as you feel their energy being like, oh my God, that's amazing, you're almost like inspired to go share it again.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is the people you surround yourself by. So don't go and tell absolutely everyone. First, be within yourself, let it settle within yourself that it's really what you want. And then be selective about who you tell. Tell the people that are up to things in life, like that, you know, ambitious or growth-minded or etc. Because you're going to want supporters first before you get the people that are like, are you sure you really want to do that with your life? That's pretty risky, like da-da-da. Because you're going to come across those too. And not everybody is going to have the same drive and zest for their life as you do for yours. And that's okay. Like I can't expect everyone to be happy for me because that's not why I'm doing it.
That's right. What then is your advice to listeners who they want to take this next step? They've settled it with themselves. They know what they're going after, but they feel as though their friendship group is sort of not holding them back, but they're just at different stages of life. And whilst they might value going out and partying because that's just the phase of life they're in, not necessarily saying that's wrong, but the person wants to be above that and wants to focus more on their health and their wellness and their mindset and their progression. Should they not cut off those friends, but should they almost step up the circle that they're being surrounded by?
It's such a great question. And I want to reframe it a little bit because for people like you and I and the girls that are listening that do want to go places, generally we kind of point up, right? So we're going up, up, up. And I've been caught in this is making other people wrong for how it is that they're choosing to live their life. Whereas I now appreciate that what people want to do with their life can be different to what I want to do with my life. And if I notice that I'm around people and their focuses for their life aren't really consistent with my life, that I need to focus on my life and put people in my life who are, having similar focus or supports. Like I have girlfriends that do wildly different things than me, but they're badasses at making money and doing business, and I love their energy and I want their energy in my life. I don't see them as above me at all. I don't see myself as above anyone else. In fact, when I see people doing things with their life that is detrimental to their health and well-being and their futures, I feel sad because maybe they can't see it, but then maybe they're not there yet either. And I think so my advice is, one, just to get that your friends are your friends. They may not be your friends forever, but they may never be not friends, but they may just be doing other things with their life, and that's okay. And you need to focus on what you're doing with your life. So if it's that you end up spending more time with people who are more aligned with you, then perfect, right? And some people will try and hang on. Australia has that tall poppy syndrome. My understanding of where that came from, which I think is really important for people to understand psychologically, is because lots of convicts basically started living in this country. If one person in the literal chain gang stepped out of line, everybody got reprimanded. But we don't live in that world anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it's just a conversation with a friend too. It doesn't mean that you have to cut them off or you have to ghost them. Sometimes it's like, look, for the next, year or so, this is my priority and I'm not going to have as much time to be going out to parties and things like that. Completely support that's where you're at. And sometimes you might, as you say, later on in life, reconnect because you'll meet each other at a similar level. It doesn't mean that you have to completely cut people out of your life if you want to step up. But on the other side of things, if you are constantly surrounding yourself by people who aren't living to your values or meeting your needs,
direction,
like it is going to hold you back because you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So it's a really honest conversation you need to have. And sometimes it is uncomfortable because you could have been friends with this person since you were 3 or 4, but it's just, you have to really, I think, put yourself and your dreams and aspirations first, but respectfully tell that person that this is just where I'm at in my current stage of life.
Absolutely. And so, like, to be clear, the conversation I think is, hey, I want to do this with my life. So I'm focusing a lot more of my time here, which means I'm not available to do those things that we used to do all the time. And I'm really, I'm sorry about that, but this is what's really important to me. And anyone who ever tries to disagree or cut you down for you following what's important to you, I'm sorry, it's just invalid. I wouldn't never ever take their opinion on.
That's right.
Also, you need to trust the process, because when you start aligning with your goals and going after them, the frequency, I believe we all operate on different frequencies. The frequency in which you're vibrating at changes, it alters. And so you'll find some people just actually won't even come to you to hang out anymore because you're on a different frequency and you're not attracting that anymore. So you need to trust that will happen as well. And you don't need to go and have a conversation with your entire friendship group to announce that this is what you're doing. Because sometimes it's nice to be able to step back and go and jump into that environment and just have a chill night or things like that. And sometimes they serve as really good reminders that you're on the right path. I've sat there at barbecues and been like, wow, I used to engage in this kind of conversation. This used to be my world, and how cool that it's not my world anymore.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. Respect your world, but glad that mine's changed a little bit since then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me now, Britt, what is in store for the future with you? What do the next couple of months, years look like? I know you probably love a bit of a 5-year plan. So if you had to point it out, what do you think that's going to involve?
Yeah, so the next steps for me in the next 2 to 3 months, I'm actually actively looking for what's called a home riding position in Europe or the US or Canada. At my level of riding now, I'm suitable enough to be able to train I'm training my horses and other people's horses now. So I can get a paid position in a stable over there, which will have me around different trainers, building a network in the show jumping industry where it's a lot bigger than Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm doing right now, is actively looking for that, with the flexibility that I can continue my consulting business part-time, so that from an income perspective, I'm still looking at that like long-term. These positions generally aren't like amazingly well paid. It's more of like an investment in me as a rider and my network. So my goal is to get those two things happening in the next 2 to 3 months. And then just this journey is like, there's two ways I'm describing it at the moment. Is like I've got a huge bookshelf, and as I'm going along training the horses, someone might come into my sphere, or I might notice a book that's actually really worth reading. So I will read that book, and I will, learn every page of that book, and then I'll put it on the shelf, and then I'll keep going. And then I find another book that I didn't know. And the journey is just going to like keep adding books to this huge bookshelf of like Britt becomes the best ever show jumper there is. And I don't know how big that shelf is or how tall it is, etc. I just know when I'm headed in the right direction, and that's all I can really work from. So getting this riding position, then I'll become a better rider, that I'll be a paid competition rider, and then keep working up from there and have people that want to own horses that I ride, and own some of my own horses and get more exposure that way and keep going. So, yeah.
Few things. First and foremost, I think you and I need to start a book club, because I absolutely love the sound of that. And from what I can gathering, if you like The Secret, we're probably into the same sort of books. So let's write that one down as a future action item.
Amazing.
And yeah, second of all, that's awesome. So do you think, and again, preface for the listeners who don't know much about equestrian, it is a sport that, age isn't really a big issue in terms of you actually get better as you get older, right? You sort of work smarter, not harder, and you gain that experience. So that's why we can have 60-year-olds still competing in Olympics and older as well. So do you think that the 2032 Brisbane Olympics will be in your hometown at the moment is on the cards?
I get a little bit nervous about it, actually. I'm like, I don't know. I think it would be the earliest. Definitely that's what I want to, like, as the first one,
Awesome.
And I'm even saying it's the first one. Like, I'll go to a multiple, I believe, before I get that gold. But that would be the earliest opportunity, I think, that I would be ready for that kind of experience. Yeah. And I take that based on what I've seen other people achieve, and that would be a very ambitious timeline, but it's not like too ridiculous either. So, yeah.
Well, first book, if you haven't already read it, have you heard of U Squared?
No. Okay.
It's about doing a quantum leap. And basically time is not an issue. It's just, you transcending into an identity and, literally transcending time. So let's square that one. And I think that you would definitely be there. And it doesn't matter if you win gold or not, right? It's the ability to go to the Olympics that can come. And I am going to do my own little U squared and say that I would want 4TG to be at the Olympics in some big capacity, whether that is a big partnership, whether that is we're going and recovering all of the female athletes and doing something along those lines. But that's my vision for 2032. So let's set that in stone right here. And then in 2032, we're going to come back and listen to this, and we'll do a new interview, obviously, once you've won gold or just got there. And we'll see how we went.
Let's do that, Kylie. Thank you so much. I am going to be on that book because I am fascinated by like the quantum leaping and transcending time, and I'm learning how to like slow it down whilst I'm competing. So
Yes.
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, awesome skill to have as an athlete, be able to slow time down and think clearly. Well, Britt, I mean, I could speak for hours, and I think that the listeners will have taken so much value from this, even if they're not horse girls, because, there's a lot of principles that apply across sport and in careers, etc. So thank you so much for coming on 4TG and sharing your story. And to all the listeners out there, please pay it forward and share this story with someone who you know is going to gain value from it. Go and like 4TG and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And Britt, where can the followers follow you?
Yes, they can follow me on Instagram at Britt.Furlanis or also on Facebook, Britt Furlanis. So I'm pretty active there.
Brilliant. Following along your fantastic journey. All the best with everything. And I have no doubt that 2032, I'll see you there with a gold medal around your neck.
Amazing, Kylie. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thanks, Britt. You've been listening to 4TG, where the future of women's sport is being shaped, one story at a time. If today's episode hit home, subscribe, rate 5 stars, and send it to someone who needs that push. Stay in the loop at 4TG_podcast or on 4TG.com. We'll see you next time. Same mission, same movement. This one was for the girls.